Hello world, Cossy here with this week's roundup of Geek movie news, starting off with Superman, the Man of Steel, which is the reboot to the Superman movie franchise. Starting with some casting news, and that is that Lawrence Fishburne, you might know from the Matrix trilogy and CSI, he has been cast as Perry White, the editor and owner of the Daily Planet. Now, for those of you who don't know, that character is traditionally portrayed as a middle-aged white guy, so it's got some media attention casting a black actor in the role. Don't know why, because I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he'll bring a lot to the role, and it's not like we've got a black Superman, which, you know, would cause some sort of crazy internet meltdown of people complaining. So yeah, he's a supporting character who didn't even originally start off in the comics, started off in the radio plays, if I remember rightly, the late 40s, 50s. So yeah, get over it, internet. We've got a black actor playing Perry White. Who cares? Obviously you do. I don't. He'll be awesome. He's a great actor. Next up, we've got a picture from that film franchise, and that is Henry Cavill behind me in costume as Superman. Now, I think he looks good. I was a bit worried about the casting because obviously he's a bit smaller than you expect for Superman, and Brandon Routh was so amazing in the role in Superman Returns. Even if you don't like that movie, you can't say he wasn't good in it. And so yeah, we've got this image now. Two things. Firstly, the raised Superman symbol on his chest. Might just be me, but isn't that going to cause drag when he flies? Isn't that going to be a problem? I might be overthinking things again, I often do, but yeah, that's one of the problems I had. Secondly, where are those iconic red briefs? I can't see them. Have you got rid of them? Are they hidden by the shadows? Who knows? Guess we're going to have to wait and see when more stills come out. But yeah, those are the only two issues I've got with that picture so far. I'm actually starting to get a bit more excited about this movie now, but we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it's going to be a good one. Next up, Green Lantern 2. Now, the sequel to this year's Green Lantern movie, for those of you who haven't seen my review, I'll pop a link up here so you can go pop out and watch my Green Lantern review. This sequel is, apparently, according to Jeff Robinov, in development. Jeff Robinov is the head of Warner Brothers Films, and he said that this movie's going to be a darker movie, more action-orientated movie, which is good, especially if they use the setup from the end of the first Green Lantern movie, with a certain Green Lantern's costume changing colour to another costume, another colour from the emotional spectrum. If they use that setup, it would be fantastic to make it darker and to make it more action-packed. But that's not the only problems that I can see with the first Green Lantern film. I mean, there's three major that just come out in the top of my head now. One is that the CGI was terrible and they spent a lot of money on it, so sort that out, because that was awful. How can you spend so much money on CGI and it be so bad, make it look like their head's just floating around? Secondly, I think that the pacing of the first movie was awful, that it was all over the place, the ending seemed rushed, there was too much time spent on Earth with Hal moaning, which you never saw in the original origin. You know, he sort of embraced being Green Lantern. He wasn't this whiny guy on Earth, oh, I've been given a green ring and powers, meh, meh, meh. Didn't like that at all. And thirdly, what's the point of having all these fantastic members of the Green Lantern Corps if you don't actually give them anything to do? So we need more time spent in space with those characters, giving them more characterization, giving them a point, because, you know, Toma Ray and Kilowog, for example, people who haven't read the comics don't know anything about them, and still don't know a great deal about them. There's people that I know who've seen this movie who are like, those aliens looked alright, what would the point of them? Yeah, we need to explain it. We need to give them some sort of characterization, guys. If you follow my advice, Warner Brothers, you will not go wrong. Trust me. Carrying on with this DC Comics, Warner Brothers sort of vein, The Dark Knight Rises. Not so much news, but a new image this week, and that it behind me. That is Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. Now, as you can see, very much like a lot of the stuff coming out of the Nolan trilogy, her costume is much more, say, realistic. She's not got the cat ears. They've kept the goggles, but they look more like sort of infrared goggles or something along those lines, sort of tech orientated. So yeah, it's a slightly different angle for the Catwoman costume, but still looking good. Once again, I'm excited about this movie. It's going to be, from what I've seen so far, a great wrap up to the Nolan trilogy and hopefully not the end of this franchise. We don't need to reboot it after this. We don't need to Spider-Man it, as I like to call it. But we could carry on with more sequels, even if we have to get a new actor in as Bruce Wayne and Batman. So, yeah, this looks good. I'm looking forward to it. Transformers Dark of the Moon news, and that is that this film has made over $1 billion in the box office. That's broken up accordingly. In the USA, it made $338 million. In the rest of the world, it made $663 million. That was as of the end of last week. This is Paramount Pictures' first film to ever break $1 billion. So it's a big deal for Paramount and Michael Bay, who will probably be sitting at home dreaming of slow-mo hot girls running and explosions, just like every other guy. So yeah, it's fantastic. And can anyone smell sequel now? I can. If you haven't seen my review for this movie, I'm going to pop a link up there. Go out and see what I thought of this movie that's just made $1 billion. But sequel, Unicron, anyone? Just me? Who knows? Next up, we've got another sequel that's in development, and that is Thor II. Now, Thor II is going to be directed by the Game of Thrones director Brian Kirk. He's replacing Kenneth Branagh, who did such an awesome job on the first movie. I think this is a good thing. I've not seen Game of Thrones. Everyone tells me it's amazing, that I need to watch it, and I will do at some point, guys. But it seems like a perfect property for someone stepping up from TV to film. It's going to have some fantasy elements, which obviously he's excelled at in the past. So this could be a really good choice from Marvel Studios. They can't seem to do much wrong at the moment, especially that amazing Captain America and Thor movie this year. So yeah, this is great to see a director attached to the project, and it's moving ahead. Next up, Emily the Strange. Now, this is a Dark Horse comic series that is being adapted into a film. Not much is known about the storyline yet. Just give you a quick quote. It's being kept under wraps, although the aim is to tell the origin of the character. She's a sort of punk goth figure who comes to gain abilities that fuse technology and imagination. So that's the sort of crux of the character. It's apparently going to be written by the Snow White and the Huntsman screenwriter Melissa Wallach, and I know this is a very popular franchise. I've not read it myself, but I know it is hugely popular, and when I get more news about it, I'll let you guys know. Another comic book franchise that's been picked up this week is this franchise behind me, NonPlayer, which has been picked up by Warner Brothers Films. It's a sci-fi fantasy comic book, and it's written by video game designer Nate Simpson. Now, producer-wise, there's going to be Roy Lee, who is the producer of The Ring, and David Heyman, who is the producer of the Harry Potter franchise, are going to be involved producing this movie. If you don't know anything about the comic book, it's basically about a woman called Dana Stevens. She's a young woman who has a really dull life and retreats into a sort of fantasy game, very much in the stylings of World of Warcraft. However, when she's there, she's this warrior, she goes on adventures, but the adventures start to actually affect the real world and her real life. So, sounds like a WoW player's dream, to be honest, but yeah, it's a very interesting concept, and hopefully it's going to get the right people behind it to adapt it into a fantastic movie. Just have to wait and see. Next up, another comic book franchise that's been picked up this week, and that is The Vault. Now, apparently GK Films has picked up the rights to this. It's an Image comic book series that is written by Sam Sarkar, and rumour has it that Johnny Depp is going to be involved in some way. Most likely as a producer, but it wouldn't surprise me if he pops up in one of the prominent roles in this adaptation. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. It's all rumours at the moment. Film centres on a group of divers who are off the coast of Nova Scotia, uncover a sarcophagus which has unusual remains, and it actually inadvertently unleashes an ancient evil. So, interesting concept, something quite different from a comic book franchise being turned into a movie. We'll have to wait and see if this is a good one, and that if Johnny Depp is involved, I'm sure it probably will be. next up, Invisible Monsters. Now, for those of you who don't know, Invisible Monsters is a book by the guy who wrote Fight Club, and I'll have to apologise right now because I always get this guy's name wrong. His name is Chuck Palahniuk. I believe that's how you pronounce it, and it's picked up a director for its movie adaptation. Now, the director is Samir Rayman. You might not know that name, but he's involved in the American remake of Skins, so he is mainly a TV director who's attached to this project. He's going to direct it. The original author, Palahniuk, he's going to also be closely involved in the visual styling of the movie, apparently. So, it's great to see that the original author is involved in this movie. It's fantastic. Not a lot of films get the sort of chance to have the original author when it's an adaptation. So yeah, that's good. It's currently looking for financing, and when more news is released, I'll let you guys know. Finally then, this week we move on to not Clash of the Titans, but the sequel to Clash of the Titans, which finally has a name, Wrath of the Titans. Now, I don't know why this movie's getting made. I mean, the first one kind of summed everything up. It was a reasonably good remake. I still hark back for the original just because I grew up with it. But yeah, why make a remake and a sequel to Clash of Titans? Oh, wait a minute. Didn't it make a bucket load of money? Oh, it did. Oh, it's not cashing in at all. Yeah, it probably is. But yeah, it's going to be a sequel. It's going to be called Wrath of the Titans. If you care, whoop for you. If you don't, then you're like me. So yeah, that's all your geek movie news for this week. As always, the like button's down there. Go and click on that like button. Go and subscribe. Go and favourite this video. Go and put it on all the social media sites that you know. Send it to your friends. Make people watch it. And I'll pop a link in the description box, which is also down there, to my Facebook fan site. For those of you who aren't liking me on Facebook already, get over there and like me on Facebook. If you haven't seen my Captain America review, I'll put a link up here, as well as the Captain America review. I kind of had to put an extra bit because I missed some stuff out. I'll put the link to that one there. Click out, watch those two, and I'll be back at some point in the week with another geek movie review. As always, au revoir, guys.